Did he think that you guys had it won, or did he think he was trying to make a play? Not sure.
What do you mean I'm not sure? No, I don't know his state of mind.
Did you know if he knew the score?
Thank you.
There's a couple of ways to help support this channel, and the easiest way is to like and subscribe. Wow, so easy! Another easy way to help support me is by using my affiliate links in the description. And the final way you can help support the channel is by supporting me directly by becoming a patron, where you can vote for patron selected commanders and get some behind the scenes action. The best way to help grow this channel is with the help of you guys. This video is sponsored by Collect Edition. They have a huge commander inventory and worldwide shipping, so check them out with the link in the description. Hello my pretties, today we have another deck of mine and I'm really happy to show you guys my big hard Dimir deck.
Do me a favor please, get out of here.
The Scarab God. Tan 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 tan. 5 mana 5/5 God. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life and you scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. Pay 4, exile target creature card from a graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. And when he dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. We should call this dude Scarab Jesus. Doesn't really die and reanimates people, kind of, ish, in zombie mode. Anyways, he's really strong.
Okay.
First off, we're gonna take a look at the mill that kills. Scarab God doesn't need much to get going, but we need those graveyards to be full at all time. Then we take a look at our card advantage and control cards, sweet stuff that synergize well with Scarab God and the graveyard, of course. And to finish off, we take a look at our shenanigans we can pull off with the deck, just great cards that synergize great together. This is more of a Dimir control / mill deck than an actual zombie tribal deck. I do run a lot of shitting out zombie cards, but not much the classic tribal cards like Coat of Arms and so on. Each game with this deck will feel different depending on what your opponents are playing, because we're gonna be playing with their creatures. Give me your fucking creatures! Give me your creatures!
What?
Sharing is caring. Shall we begin? First off, mill that kills. Scarab God, aka Jesus, is so nice. He revives creatures for a living, but we need those creatures to be in the graveyard before we can take them all for ourselves. Psychic Corona. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyards, aka mills for 2. Static mill is the best. Cast it and let it linger.
Fucking lingerer, man.
Yeah.
Court of Coming. 3 mana. When Court of Coming enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, any number of target player each mill 2 cards. If you're the monarch, each of those players mills 10 cards instead. Cast it. Boom. Monarch. Let it linger.
Linger.
Hardcore.
Altar of the Dude, bro. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, dude, each opponent puts the top cards of their library into their graveyards. Like, they freaking mill for 1, dude. Just freaking cast it and let it linger, dude. Mesmenic Orb. Whenever a permanent becomes untapped, that permanent's controller mills a card. Cast it, untap it, mill it, let it linger.
There's one quality I hate in a person, it's lingering.
Mindcrack. Whenever an opponent loses life, that player mills that many cards. Synergizes great with Scarab Jesus. Each upkeep, each opponent loses life equal to the number of zombies you control, and then they mill that many cards. 2 for 1, extra salty on the side. Consuming Aberration is what they call me when I'm at the buffet. 5 mana X6, consuming Aberration's power is equals to the number of cards in opponent's graveyards. Whenever you cast a spell, each opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a land card. Put those cards into their graveyards. This guy mills, then he gets bigger, and then he kills. Geruda seems like a Street Fighter name.
Let my beauty intoxicate you.
When Geruda enters the battlefield, each opponent mills 4 cards. Then put a creature card with even converted mana cost from those cards onto the battlefield under your control. And he's a 6/6 for 6. Huh? Mills and gets a creature dude in the process. Huh? It's pretty good. Ruin Krabby Patty, everyone's favorite salty boy. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 3 cards. Yep. Lich Lord of Unks. Don't say, name it something else. 3 mana, 2/2, pay 2, tap, put a 1/1 blue and black zombie wizard creature token into play. Pay 4, target player loses X life and puts the top X card of their library into their graveyards, where X is the number of zombies you control. Literally does everything we want. Tokens, mills, damage, everything. He's a zombie. I want it. Meaning cacophony? 2 mana, kicker for 4, each opponent mills 8 cards. If this spell was kicked in the nuts, instead, each opponent mills half their library, rounded up. Cast this early on and you won't even need to mill the rest of the game, you're set forever. Now for le card avantage and le control cards, oui oui, le crème de la crème de Dimir. Yes, yes, yes. Jesus Eternal Kefnet, 4 mana, 4/5 flying zombie god. You may reveal the first card you draw each turn as you draw it. Whenever you reveal an instant or sorcery card this way, copy that card and you may cast the copy. The copy costs 2 less to cast. Really strong with Vampiric Tutor and Mystical Tutor. Search your library for a card or an instant or sorcery card, put it on top of your library. And what do you fetch? Temporal Manipulation, take an extra turn after this one. And what do? You cast it for 3 instead of 5. And then what do you do after the turn after that? You cast it for 5. And then what do you do the turn after that? You play Snapcaster Mage and then you cast it again. Yeah, Jerry, I'm gonna take one of those freaking Dimir decks, okay? And give me some extra salt with that. James Bond of Insight, 4 mana sorcery, each player mills 4 cards. Then return up to 2 target instant or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. We might end up milling some of our good instant and sorceries, and Bond of Insight is there to get them back. Eliget seems like a Mortal Kombat name.
It's showtime.
6 mana, 5/6 flying, if you would scry a number of cards, draw that many cards instead. Pretty gnarly with Scarab Jesus. Oh, I have 5 zombies? I'll draw 5 cards during my upkeep. Heh. Bro, you thought you were cool with your Sphinx of the First Sun? Wait till you see my Sphinx of the Second Sun. 8 mana, 6/6 flying. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you get an additional beginning phase after this? Huh? So yeah, you draw another card, you untap all your permanents, and you get another upkeep that triggers Scarab God again. What the cannoli?
It's gonna work. It's passable, okay? This isn't terrible.
Paradox Gaze! 3 mana, Enchantment Aura. At the beginning of Enchant player's first upkeep each turn, that player gets an additional upkeep step after this one. So we be scrying and scrying for days with baby Scarab Jesus. Entome. Search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. But hey, what's better than casting Entome? Getting an Entome every turn with Auric Lore Mage. 4 mana, 3/3, tap, search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, and shuffle it. If it's an instant or sorcery card, put a +1/+1 encounter on Auric Lore Mage. Now with Scarab God, you keep 4 mana up and you activate Auric Lore Mage at instant speed. It's pretty gnarly, you can fetch anything you want in your deck, put it into your graveyard, and eternalize it. Oh my friend, you're going to draw 1 million cards? Let me just fetch my Hull Breacher, put it into my graveyard, and eternalize him. Oh my friend, you're going to fetch? Oh, let me just grab my opposition agent and put him into my graveyard and eternalize him. Ha! Fuck your plans. Now for a couple of zombie makers. I don't run too many zombies in this deck, but I got a couple of cards that give me a lot of zombies instead. You're gonna be in grave danger once I cast Grave Titan. 6 mana, 6/6, Death Touch. Hey, that's pretty useless when you're a 6/6 creature. When he enters the battlefield or he attacks, create 2 2/2 zombie creature tokens. Now a personal favorite of mine, Ghoul Caller Giza. 5 mana, 3/4, pay 1 black, tap, sacrifice another creature, create X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens where X is the sacrifice creature's power. This card is really bonkers, especially with cards like Gravecrawler. You may cast Gravecrawler from your graveyard as long as you control a zombie. So sacrifice him to Ghoul Caller Giza, create 2 2/2 zombies, then, well, cast Gravecrawler again from your graveyard. So technically, for 2 black mana, you create 2 tokens each turn. Wow! I freaking love the land cycle from Zendikar. I think it's one of the best things to happen to Commander, especially in 2-color decks where mana fixing is not that big of an issue. I run cards like Seagate Restoration, 7 mana, draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand plus 1. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. So here's the thing with this deck, a lot of the time you won't be casting things because you're gonna be eternalizing stuff with Scarab Jesus, so you're gonna have a lot of cards in your hand, a lot of the time. That means for most of the time, you won't get a Seagate Restoration for less than 6. And I promise you that on my stepfather's second cousin's daughter's hamster's head. Academ's Awakening, X, triple black, return from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that each have a different converted mana cost X or less. I put this in about, I don't know, 100% of my black decks. I'm not good at math, but 100% is a lot.
Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
Hagra, Mauling, 4 mana, black instant. It costs 1 less to cast if an opponent controls no basic lands. Destroy target creature. And probably my favorite, Glass Pool Mimic. 3 mana, comes into play as a copy of any creature you control. Now, don't be shy to play your sorcery flip lands on early because we can bring them back later, with cards like Dimir Aqueduct and Guildless Commons. When they come into play, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Now for some cool stuff and shenanigans. Training Grounds, 1 mana. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost up to 2 less to activate. This effect can reduce the amount of mana of an ability to less than 1 mana. This is a must play in this deck. You don't understand. With 6 mana, you could normally activate Scarab God's ability once. But with Training Grounds, you can do it 3 times. Man, I'm not good at math, but it's quite more than once. Cleaver Impurginator, 4 mana, comes into play as a copy of any non-land permanent on the battlefield. Copying something on the board at instant speed with Scarab God is a type of shenanigans I like.
Hey, man, what's your business, man?
Mikaeus the Unhallowed, 6 mana 5/5, Intimidate. Whenever a human deals damage to you, destroy it. Other non-human creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Undying. Not too many shenanigans to do with this, it's just pretty freaking good, especially with Gay Merchant. When Gay Merchant enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black, and you gain that much life. Pretty much a win con in this deck. If you have Mikaeus and Undying, he comes back, and then you sack him, and then you bring him back with Scarab God, and then that's a lot of devotion, and it's a lot of people dying, and a lot of people scooping. Now, Dimir ain't the best at ramping, but we try our best, and we do so with these cards. Cryptgas, 4 mana, 2/2. Whenever you tap a swamp for mana, add 1 additional black to your mana pool. Pretty good, especially with Urborg and Sword of the Animist. 2 mana, equipped creature get +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you may search your library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield tap. Equip for 2. So yeah, just fetch all your swamps or pretty much anything if you have Urborg. Awaken the Erstwhile, probably my favorite card of the deck. It's a 5 mana sorcery. Each player discards all cards in their hands and create that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Oh, there's a lot of cards in the graveyard? Your commander is on the board? Cast this freaking bad boy dude. There you go, everybody's top deck mode, and you can start eternalizing stuff and take over the game. Really nasty card, I love it. And Rise of the Dark Realms. Why have skills when you can just play this 9 mana sorcery, put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. GG, scoop it up honey, we're going home.
Bye, have a great time.
I hope you jabronis enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Plus, if you want to be part of the commander selection, be sure to become a patron. Goodbye.